Hello. So today I will be talking about Otile Brown and Vera Sidika, and they had a bit of trouble, some beef between the two. And what happened is that Vera said a lot of things about Otile, and she actually produced screenshots to prove those things that she said. One of the things that she said was that Otile does not have money and that he uses his relationships as a means of securing money, and she felt that he used her to get money for his activities and his lifestyle. And so let me touch on that a bit. In Ecclesiastes 10:19, it says money answers for everything, and we might believe that it doesn't, but it does, because if you want to eat, you need money. If you want to entertain yourself, you need money. If you want to pay rent, you need money, all that kind of stuff. So it does answer for everything. I wanted to add a few things also about money, what it says in a relationship, that people share resources in a relationship. Money shows how people share resources in a relationship. They'll either pull together or separate their money. And if they separate their money, then it means it's a divided house. And as it was said by Jesus, a divided house cannot stand. And then money also shows the share of effort. It's an indication of the share of effort in a relationship. Like if Vera felt that she was the one putting a lot of effort into the relationship in terms of monetary terms, and then she felt frustrated, because at the end of the day you have a finite number of resources, and money is finite, so it can't last forever. And when you see that it's being pulled away and the other person is not bringing in, then it leads to frustration, and then frustration now leads to anger, and it boils up and it blows at some given point. So learn to work together, learn to decide what kind of effort is necessary within the family, and then now bring that effort together or within the relationship. Priorities in a relationship: are you each other's priority? When you get money, what do? Do you go drinking? Do you buy a gift for your partner? Do you buy food for the house? If you go drinking, then do you go drinking with your partner? Where your heart is, your treasure is. So it shows who's the priority in that relationship, how you use it. And in this case, it would show that Vera placed Otile as a priority in the relationship, because she gave money to him. So I believe that that's true. And then the future of the partnership, it determines, like, are you guys building each other? Like the end game. I think Otile wanted a Benz this time. What's the end game of that Benz? You get, what was it to do? And then, but he also talked about businesses, starting, and making music and all that kind of stuff. So it was a dynamic kind of relationship. I can't really say that I know it well, but generally speaking, are you guys building each other or destroying each other? How are you using your money? Remember, time and tide waits for no man. I wanted to give an example. When women place too much emphasis on money, it distorts the way the society functions. Remember, the ratio is 1:1. If you guys leave campus, it takes 5 years for a graduate to get a job, and mostly the burden is on the men, because the women, yeah, that's the way our society works. And what happens if a man takes 5 years to get a job? What happens in the 5 years? Will he remain lonely? Will he let's depend on his parents? And what if his parents don't have money? Then what happens to him? Does he not deserve love within that time? If money is the deciding factor, then what happens to this gentleman who will stay for 5 years before they get a job? And then again, let's say one of them is lucky and gets a job, or the one gets a job after 5 years. Then what happens at that time when he loses a job? Like, companies at the Nairobi Securities Exchange, they laid off 4,250 workers this year. That's by August 2018. That's the number of workers laid off. Barclays laid off, Standard Chartered laid off, Housing Finance laid off, Cooperative Bank laid off, and Diamond Trust laid off. These were people who had money, right? And now they don't have money. So what happens to their relationships, right? What if it takes another 5 years for them to get another job? What happens during that interim period? If the girlfriend decided that money was the most important factor, then what happens during that time? You get. Then there's the rate of dependency. Like at certain times, I don't believe ladies get it. You might see that somebody has a good job. At sometimes you can find that even the ladies start budgeting for the dude's income. He earns this, he earns this, he should be able to give me this and all that kind of stuff. But there's something we call the rate of dependency, where some people are too young to work, some people are too old to work, there are others who are sick. So most of the people who depend on a certain population within the middle who are working. And when it comes to a family setting, you might find that one person has a lot of dependents under him, and his money is going all the way into that, and he's doing what's supposed to be doing as a man, taking care of his family. But here you are demanding money from him. What happens to that kind of relationship? It will fail, even though the man is performing as a man should be performing his duty, as a man should be performing his duty, just because somebody wants cash. Another thing, inadequate income. Around nearly half of Kenya's household do earn less than 10,000 a month. 2% have no income at all. 2% have no income. So when, let's say we're around 50 million people, 25 million people earn less than 10,000 a month. What happens to those people? Do they deserve love? Will they ever find love? If you place money as the most important factor, then what happens to them? That's an opinion that I had. And then, so I wanted to move to sex, where Vera said that Otile is a non-performer. I felt that that was very, very bad information to reveal to the public, especially for a man, because men are people of ego. And now people can use that as a way of attacking him. And I think they're doing that already, and I hope that they'll stop. I don't think they will, but I hope that they'll stop. So I want to again, we cannot vilify Vera, because sex is very important in a relationship. And why is it important? Here's the reason. It shows commitment to one another. If she can have sex with other people, he can have sex with other people, and you guys decide to have sex with each other, that means that there's something that connects you guys. And if you guys decide that you keep on having sex with them, then that's okay. That's a connecting factor. And it's a sacrifice, because now you've placed you put other people out of that kind of that aspect of your life, and it's a sacrifice. So I hope that it's a sacrifice with gladness and without bitterness. And if you don't sacrifice at all, if you play around with other people, then are you really in a relationship, or do you just say that you're in a relationship? Another thing is that sex brings passion into the relationship. You guys feel passionate about each other. You want to see each other at the end of the day. You respond to each other's touch. And then even if there's beef in the home, then there's that energy, that connection between you guys that will always make you soften each other to what the other person is saying. And I think that's important. And then having sex regularly is healthy. It improves your immune system. Bladder control in women, it improves bladder control in women, and it lowers blood pressure, so that's a good thing. Another thing is that it's a pathway to having children, and I think that's the most important thing about sex. It's a pathway to have children. It's not necessarily that you must have children, right? But trying to have children, sincerely trying to have children, that's a good thing, and we should practice that, continue that. And that will enhance your bond, and when the children come, it will enhance it further, and it will be nice. Anyway, and I think that's why there was a bit of argument between the two guys, because one wanted to have kids, one wanted to not to have kids. It was an argument of how further do we advance this relationship. And I wanted you guys to notice that Vera stayed with Otile for a long time, even if he was a bad performer. She stayed with somebody wanted to advance the relationship, even though they knew that perhaps performance was wanting when it came to the bedroom. So performance isn't everything. That's my opinion. And money isn't everything, because things can change. And then, so I wanted to give problems, because I know people face this problem, and I wanted to give an sexual performance. One of the problems that dudes face is premature ejaculation, and then there's erectile dysfunction. Premature ejaculation, it affects 4 to 39%. That's kind of like 4 to 40% of men in the general community. So that's a lot of men who are affected by premature ejaculation. I don't think many of them would say it, but it's there, and it affects a lot of them, and it's a big problem. Then there's erectile dysfunction. Premature ejaculation is when a man ejaculates from the stats I had, it's less than 2 minutes. And when it comes to erectile dysfunction, is when a man cannot rise to the occasion. That affects 150 million men worldwide, which is a big problem. In Australia, it affects 25% of Australian men. That's a whole load. That's a high number of men. Anyway, personally, from what I've gotten from my research, these are the problems that lead to premature ejaculation and erectile dysfunction: masturbation, steroids, inadequate physical exercise, lead poisoning. Lead poisoning is very dangerous. And then torture, like our army loves torturing people when they in the genitals, when there's a bit of a problem. Let's say they're looking for Al-Shabaab or that kind of stuff. So this is from my research. Other researchers will have like their own list, but this is my list that I've found: masturbation, steroids, inadequate physical exercise, and lead poisoning, and torture. And there'll be variants of that, but I think those are the most common. And oh yeah, there's Viagra. The use of Viagra, that thing is very bad. It doesn't help because it creates a dependency on it. People cannot, they have to use it for them to perform. So it's a great dependency, and then things become functionless. So these are the reasons. Please avoid this kind of stuff. Another thing I wanted to give is when it comes to women, in terms of, Vera said that she's not satisfied and she used to go aside and masturbate next to Otile Brown. Okay, so that's very sad, by the way. Very sad for Otile. I think even Otile complained. I wanted to give some background to that. 82% of women, they achieve an orgasm during masturbation. 34% achieve it during oral sex. 27% achieve it during normal intercourse. 26% achieve it during genital touching, right? 62 masturbation, 34 oral sex, 27 normal sex, 26 genital touching, right? So at the end of the day, you might look at this and say, so what do people, if an organism is the principle, it's the main aim, then does masturbation become the solution? Does that become the solution? I do not believe that it does, because as you can see, even Otile was complaining that she masturbates while he is there. So it's a kind of selfishness, because there's no connection there, and with the lack of connection, is there a relationship there? And then we've also moved through the importance of sex, and even Vera knows the importance of sex, and she was trying to educate. She was trying to, let's say, to bring Otile around to her version of how sex goes, because she knows that it's very important between two people. So masturbation cannot be the answer. There's something that's always missing when that happens. And what is that missing? It's that emotional connection. And I wanted to give these statistics. 96% of married couples say that emotional connection leads to the best kind of sex. And that is why masturbation is very wrong, because it denies the couple that emotional connection, and they need that, not only to maintain the relationship, to have all the good things that sex brings in a relationship, but to even advance it, to make it worthwhile, because here they say the best sex is because of an emotional connection. 92% of married couples say that they like it when their partner shows vulnerability. My interpretation of that is that they like it when they see that their partner is a human, and that the partner would want them or needs them. So being needed is an important part of sexual intimacy, and that cannot happen when people are masturbating and all that kind of stuff. And then 90% of married couples believe that sex gets better after years of being together. So even if something is not working out right now, it will work out in future. Have patience, persevere with each other, and move along. Do not be so quick to go on your own and do stuff on your own, or go and cheat. Work together as a married couple or as a couple. Again, just do that. I wanted to give something about oral sex. It increases your risk of getting head and neck cancer. It's rare that people get it, but it increases your risk. So it's something that you may need to check. Women also have problems when it comes to sex. Some have fibroids, which leads to pain when they're having sex. Others have problems with their cervix, their vulva. Others, even menopause can bring problems. And people need to understand that your idea of sex might not be your partner's ideas of sex. If a man comes into a relationship and he's used to a certain kind of version of sex, and the woman has fibroids, or she's not used to that, or she doesn't do certain things, then do you force it upon her? You might take it as though you're educating her, but you might be forcing her. So just think about that. And then I wanted to also to add that we need to think about the idea of a relationship. What does it entail? Vera stayed with this guy even though she knew this about him, right? Why? Because she thought that there was hope. Hope for what? Hope for love. Because at the end of the day, it's all about love. And this is what Thomas Merton said. Love is our true destiny. We do not find the meaning of life by ourselves alone. We find it with another. And that is what Vera was trying to do. And I believe that this time she couldn't do it. Hopefully she'll be able to do it next time. And I believe that's why she was hurt, because I think that she felt that this was the way forward, but it didn't work out, which is sad. But anyway, we live to fight another day, don't we? And then I wanted also to add, our job is to love others without stopping to inquire whether they are worthy of our love or not, right? Do not stop to when you're seeking after a relationship, when you're seeking after someone, do not stop and think and start thinking about, does he have enough money? Can he perform sexually? Our job is to love them as they are, not to inquire whether they are worthy of our love. Like you sit down and say, he's not worthy of my love. He doesn't have money. He's not worthy of my love. He's not a good sexual performer. That is not our job. Our job is to love others without inquiring about those things. And then when you love others, what you'll realize is that at the end of the day, things will work out. And even in this case, Vera was trying to work out things, even though she knew about some stuff about Otile. So I'll just end with that. Again, love is our true destiny, nothing else. Do not think too much about money, because things change. And then use it wisely so that you guys share resources, share effort well, prioritize your partner, and build your future. So that's what I had for today. Again, do not think of sex as a primary factor that determines whether the relationship will work or not. Just think of it as a way of advancing children. That is its most important aim. And then as an additional bonus within the relationship, because love is our true destiny. So sex is just a bonus. For those who have problems with sexual performance, just think about the things that I've said. Exercise a lot, and then eat well. Stop this other stuff, masturbation, steroids. Stay away from LED materials and all that kind of stuff, and stop away from the Viagras and all that kind of stuff. Women, if you need to seek a connection with your partner, stop masturbating, right? Just stop, seek a connection with your partner. It's important when you guys, if you don't have that connection with your partner, then you need to think about the relationship. How do you build that connection? If it's a marriage, don't give up on it. Let me just stop at that. So anyway, I hope that this video has been informative. Just taking some effort to produce it, but anyway, have a lovely evening. I'll see you tomorrow at 5 for another video. This is a new topic for me. Hopefully I won't do it again. I'll stick to politics and social matters. Bye bye.